hope it was an awesome weekend for you. Welcome to Monday. Thanks for finding the Wicked Radio live stream and replay on X and Facebook and YouTube and the audio podcast and all that good stuff. Yes, of course, in this episode, we're going to be talking about some of the most amazing athletic feats you've ever seen in your life. The conference championship games in the NFL? No! An American rock climber who broke a record in Taipei. I had never heard of Alex Honnold before. This was incredible. We will definitely get to that. I think we need thrill seekers. Anyway, we'll get to that as well. And, of course, we're going to talk about the Super Bowl matchup. But one really important thing today, and I think it was finally determined and cemented and decided over the weekend. If you're horrified, maybe even a little bit, scared of all this stuff that's happening in Minneapolis, this mess of Minnesota, and you're worried that there's going to be a massive revolt in the country and this is going to break out in a city near you, it's not going to. This Minneapolis mess is not spreading like they thought it would and like they want it to, and I'll tell you exactly why, but that should make you feel good about this. There's a certain set of circumstances that have to happen in a city and a state with complete and total corruption for something like this to happen. And even though it's a mess, and it's bad, it's isolated to Minneapolis right now, so far anyway. And I think it's going to stay there. We'll talk about that as well. But let's get right to it. Thanks for finding me. I appreciate you so much. Well, yes, of course, we got to talk about this. Let's talk about the fun stuff before we get to anything. We know who's going to be in Super Bowl 60. 60 years of the Super Bowl. I can't believe it. February 8th, Santa Clara, California. That's actually San Francisco markets where the Niners play, if you don't know. Let's go to the American Football Conference.
No safety deep. Oh, here he goes. He can try to beat him with his legs. As Ellis runs after him, and May got there. Drake May outraces the defender.
I could spend an entire podcast talking about, as a Patriots fan, since 1975. Actually, I was born in 70, but still, since 75, consciously aware of it, how unbelievable that this is. But you don't want to hear about that. That's okay. That's a different story. That's for another day. I've got 2 weeks to talk about that, but let's talk about the National Football Conference.
Seconds left. Loading up near side Nakua. Is he out of bounds?
Oh, my God.
3 seconds. We're going to run the clock. That's going to do it. The Seahawks soar to Super Bowl 60.
Seattle, New England, Super Bowl 60. It's going to be a great game, and it's going to be a huge national television media event. I know, I get it. You may be one of those. I totally understand. The NFL, in all its stupidity, does a lot of dumb things. And they did a few years ago until they finally got smart and took the cameras off them. They allowed the kneeling and the disrespect of the national anthem and all this other crap that happened there. It transcends. Our love for that game transcends all of this. And it becomes now that the National Conference Championship games are over, the Super Bowl is a national holiday event. Couple of days from now, I'll be talking about why I think this should be either on a Saturday or make it a holiday on Monday, but that's neither here nor there. We got plenty of time for that. This is a great, uniquely, for now, American event, and I know you may not want to watch it. I know you're not part of it, but I'm just telling you, despite all the calls for, we're not going to watch it because of Bad Bunny, we're still mad at the NFL, totally legit reasons, totally understand and respect your decision. I'm just telling you, mentally prepare yourself. It's not going to be any smaller than it was last year or the year before. It continues to grow because we love the culture of that game so much as Americans. We just do. All right. The real athletic event that happened over the weekend is still coming up. This climber, Taipei, I'll talk about him in a second. But let's talk about the news, of course. The news that dominated the weekend in America was Minneapolis. I'm telling you, and I'll say this 3-4 times, this is the main takeaway. Now it's decided. Now we know. Now we know for sure. This mess that they want to spread to the rest of the country is not spreading to the rest of the country. We've had, 3-4 weeks of the real serious rioting and anarchy and the outside influences coming in and the money and the organized chaos. There's a certain set of circumstances that have to happen for a city to get this bad and this out of control. You have to have a completely spineless and handcuffed police department. We've seen that. We have to have a completely compromised and corrupt mayor in Minneapolis. We've seen that. You've got a governor, Tim Walz, who is absolutely beyond. I always used to say he was useless. He's way more useless than that. I've called him one of the most dangerous men in America because wimpy, compromised, weak men get people hurt. And that's exactly what's happening here. And he's actually gone so far now. He's so desperate now, because don't forget about the fraud that's all caught up in all of this. He's so desperate now to cover up his own fraud. He's inciting the violence in this city. That's what it takes. And then you go to state leadership. Go to Senator Amy Klobuchar. She's one too. Where's your Senate leadership in this state? Nothing is happening. And we've all asked the question. I've asked it too. I thought by last week the National Guard was going to go in and, insurrection act and just quell that entire thing. I don't know now. I know, and I feel bad for loyal, patriotic citizens who are trapped in Minneapolis. And it's mostly Minneapolis, not the entire state, who are trapped there. Because there are people, good people, who are trapped there. And they've been trying to say this place has been a mess for years. I feel bad for them. But I honestly I'm starting to think the administration is looking at Minneapolis and saying, let this fire just burn out. Just let it quell. It's not spreading nationally. It's not. We know this now. This is 3-4 weeks in. It's not spreading. Maybe they want to keep it that way. And of course, we all heard the story about the citizen, the unarmed citizen who was murdered by ICE officers. First of all, tap the brakes on that. You know how you don't get shot by ICE officers, or any police officer for that matter? You don't show up and get involved in a skirmish with a gun with 2 loaded clips and no ID. That's how you don't get shot. That's what happened. That's what they're not telling in your favorite mainstream news sources, first of all. That's what's happening there. And secondly, now you've got this useless, beyond useless, flat-out dangerous, stupid, weak governor in that state saying, flat-out inciting violence. You might have seen the video. I'm not going to play it. Behind his gated fence with a bullhorn, he's telling people to get in the face and fight. Literally, the imagery is incredible while he's down behind a protected fence. And then he did this. And then he said, because of this incident, he's putting together a list. They love their lists, don't they? Of DHS and ICE agents. Here's beyond useless Tim
Don
Walz.
Lemon, don't come here.
That's not Tim. That's a great reverend we're going to get to in just a second. Hold on a second. We'll get to Tim Walz here in a second.
Minnesotans are witnessing, and we're creating a log of evidence for the future prosecution of ICE agents and officials responsible for this.
Future prosecution of ICE agents. Stop and think about that for a second. So you're an ICE agent. You're doing your duty. You were sent there. You were dispatched to Minneapolis, far from home. Let's not forget about them, weeks away from their home, doing their job, deporting the criminals, busting fraud, facing danger, getting attacked. And this asshole, governor, has the cojones to come out there and say that he's putting your name on a list for you doing your job. Okay, I've had enough. It's not, maybe it is true that the administration just wants to let this little fire in Minneapolis burn itself out. Let it cut off the money, cut off the funding, and see where they are then. But I want that guy in jail. That's it. It was enough for me to see the video with him on the bullhorn and inciting violence behind his gated fence. That was enough for me. But that one is the clincher. Tim Walz putting together a list of DHS and ICE agents. Put him in jail. I'm done. Go into Minneapolis, round him up, put him in handcuffs for inciting violence. And they may get him anyway in the fraud, but that's enough for me. I'm done. I'm absolutely done. You've got an absolute moron, completely corrupt governor inciting violence. You just can't have it. Because what does it lead to? This was a fascinating report to me. We talked about this the week before last. This is how long this has been going on. If you want to know how funded it is, organized it is, and completely out of control because they have zero leadership, no responsible leadership in the entire state. Now you've got this. I told you before last week, this is the thing that drives me over the edge, that I cannot tolerate. Citizens who think they have the power pulling people over and searching cars.
A few thousand protesters have joined from a vigil they were holding. And you can see these young people in the shiny vests. They've actually stopped traffic. They're pretty well organized. They've got walkie-talkies, and they replace each other. But basically, they've stopped traffic. So you can see this is expanding now from just one block.
No. 1,000 no's, 1,000,000 no's. I will not tolerate it. I will not put up with it. I don't care. Won't have it. Now, I don't know what the situation would be unless you live there, where you have to drive into Minneapolis. And it's sad because there are great people who live there and work there. They have businesses, and I understand that. But this crap where you have people there, probably not even from that town. They were bussed in, as we've seen with the riots. thinking they have the authority to pull people over and search cars. We've seen it before. Nope, done. I'm all done. All done with that. Arrest Tim Walz. Done. That would be the greatest thing. Make an example of these absolute idiots. And he would love to be a martyr. He would love that. Okay, we'll give it to him. Give it to him. Let him be one. Now, I played this clip a little bit too early, but this guy's awesome. Wait till you hear the entire thing. You know, I remember how I said last week, I got into a little bit of trouble for this. I got a little pushback, but then many more people agreed with me actually in the comments, where I said, remember the church rioters? Remember Don Lemon organizing those dirtbags who wound up getting arrested? 2 of them out of jail already, by the way. That was amazing, right? Completely corrupt judicial system in Minnesota, too. That they don't try this in certain cities, and I'll say it, they don't try this in a black church. They don't try to bust up a Sunday church service in an inner city church, or even, I would say even, in some of the pissed off Catholic churches I've been to. They don't try it there. They try it in what's called a soft target. They're not going to get any pushback. Most people behave, you know. And we saw most of the churchgoers with their families in that city's church in Minneapolis, just, you know, Minnesota nice, just sitting there and just, you know, kind of behaving, kind of going along with it. I said at the time, and I'll stick by this, they don't try this in a black church. They don't try it in an inner city church. They don't try it in a pissed off Catholic church. They don't try it in a fire and brimstone Pentecostal church or a Southern Baptist church. They don't try it because they know they would get the absolute hell beaten out of them. Example, this guy's name, sorry I played the clip a little bit too early before. His name is Reverend Wooten. He's a pastor and the leader of a church in St. Louis, Missouri. Tough town. Do you think, for example, they would try that in his church? No.
Don Lemon, don't come here. You roll up in his church doing stuff like that, and it's going to be the Royal Rumble. And the funny thing is, I'm not joking. We have worked hard. We built the church in the name of the Lord. We dedicated it to the Lord. It's built for worship. Our blood, sweat, tears, and finances are in this place. And some people who have never darkened the door of the church and never contributed one dime to it, gonna roll up in here and disturb our service and scare our children and shout obscenities in the church. That will not stand in this church. Freedom of speech.
I love it. I absolutely love it. I love it, first of all, because of him and how he said it. I love that, and I love the response of the church. But I'll be completely honest with you. It backs up exactly what I've thought. I said it before. I said it last week. That nonsense would not happen in a church like that, guys. It would not happen, which is another reason, and the larger issue is, this is why they want so bad. They want the guy that was shot by the ICE agents because he had a gun. They want him to be the martyr. They want this to be the new rallying point. Has it happened? No, it's not happened. No. They want this to spread to other cities. They've tried. They've tried to get the propaganda out there. They worked all their resources. They tried to bus in rioters. They've tried to do it. They've scoped out other churches to try to invade them and to riot there. Has it happened? No, it has not happened. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen because you have to have the exact set of circumstances of pathetic, corrupt lack of leadership, like in Minnesota, for an example like that to happen. It's not going to happen in that guy's church. Sorry, not going to happen. Not going to happen at all. All right, let's get to some good news. Then I'll get out of here and let you get on with your Monday. Yes, we had the great athletic events of the weekend, the AFC and the NFC championship games in the NFL. Plenty of time to talk about that. Let's talk about what probably was the most incredible athletic feat, an American sports feat, I'll call it sports, of the entire weekend. I, like you, probably had never heard of Alex Honnold. He's a 40-year-old American, key to the story, rock climber and free climber, and he climbed, I want to get this right, the Taipei 101 Tower over the weekend. 101 floors. It took him, I guess, just under 2 hours. So right there is amazing. With 0 ropes and 0 safety net. This was actually, I didn't see it live. I guess it's a Netflix thing, and they paid him and paid an inordinate amount of money. Didn't break the law. He really, truly is like Spider-Man, and he's done some things that are illegal, climbing different buildings and things. Apparently, this was all legit, and what an amazing accomplishment.
He's done it. Alex Honnold has made history again.
I saw in the comments, yeah, I don't know. Good question. I don't know how he got down. Good question. Hopefully he didn't have to climb his own way down there. Send up a helicopter and get him down. Help the guy out, for God's sakes. That's incredible. Have you ever in your life met a rock climber, professional, amateur, whatever it is? They're the skinniest and strongest people you will ever meet in your entire life. It's incredible. This guy's an amazing athlete. I mean, that's incredible. Netflix event or not, to be able to do that. And then he's standing on the tower at the end of it like he just went for a walk. I got to tell you, I think we need this. As scary as it is, and yeah, there's a danger there that the guy might fall or whatever. I mean, but there was a point in time there where he has to climb up the bulb portion of the thing to get to the tower. And he stuck his legs out. He went hands-free. I mean, I think we kind of need this in society, don't we? I mean, like the early part of the 20th century, they had Houdini, that kind of thing. Always had stunt devils and different things. I remember when I was a kid, we had Evel Knievel. I loved that. I just absolutely loved it. Usually crashed and burned, but whatever. It was amazing to see. Now we got this guy, Alex Honnold, rock climber, an American rock climber. What an accomplishment. I love this. I think we need thrill seekers in life to root for. Because it's like, we live out our fears through them. This guy was amazing. If you don't get a chance, his last name is Honnold, Alex Honnold. Check out what he did. You don't want to watch the entire 2 hours. It's like watching paint dry, but watch the end clip there because it's amazing what he did. Wow. How about that? Main takeaway, though, seriously, I mean this. This is the message. This is where it was confirmed over the weekend. If you're freaked out about Minneapolis, and if you're worried that it's coming to a city or a county near you, I don't think so. I may be wrong. That's my bet. I don't think it's going to spread. It would have by now. They want it to. They wanted to find their martyr, and they don't have it yet because people aren't putting up with it unless you have a completely top to bottom in every sector corrupt state like Minnesota. That's the perfect set of circumstances where that happens, and it's not happening here. Ain't going to happen. And we know the Super Bowl matchup. 2 weeks of hype. Get ready for it. Tomorrow they always release the Super Bowl commercials early, which is kind of a shame. We'll start to talk about some of the marketing efforts coming up. And by the way, here's the question. We haven't heard about this for a while. Is there going to be that alternative Super Bowl halftime show so you can take eyeballs away from Bad Bunny and the NFL and Green Day? I haven't heard much about that. We'll investigate. We'll find out tomorrow if that's going to happen. In the meantime, make it a wicked awesome Monday. Have a great one. We've only just begun. I'll talk to you later.